I'm convinced that this was not supposed to be a movie. I'm convinced that this was a pilot for some TV show that just never took off, and then they extended it by like 5 minutes and made it into a movie. What's going on, guys? Welcome to 31 Days of Horror. I am Morgan Film Fan. Let's jump into some scares. The Rake was a DVD or a film that I kind of randomly discovered on YouTube, which is my favorite way to discover films. This was released in 2018, and found it for a good price, so I decided to check it out and save it for 31 Days of Horror. Now, as I said, this film is extremely short. We're talking less than an hour and 20 minutes. It's about an hour and 15. It really feels like a TV episode, and the biggest thing that makes it feel like a TV episode is the fact that the ending just abruptly ends. Now, I don't mind that, usually, but it doesn't work on this one. You need a part two or something, or, like, literally this feels like a pilot. I'm not even kidding. The film's good, but even as a like an abstract ending, like a you know, interpret however you want to interpret the ending. It still just doesn't work. Even like a monster comes and then credits roll. Like literally, spoiler alert. That's what happens. It has to do with this plague that is monster-like, and there's this. I'll get into basically the synopsis. You get the beginning of the film. It starts right off at Christmas, and there's this couple with two kids, and the father is kind of like, I think he's like a psychologist or somebody who studies the mind of people who have psychoses or something like that. He's studying these videos, and it's about this guy who believes he's like cursed by the Rake, which the Rake is this plague that kind of eats you from the inside but also turns you into a monster. And then there's a break-in. This guy's name is Jacob. This guy who's like has this in his head, breaks into the house and then starts attacking the family. And eventually he says, it will infect us all. And he has his eyes like all blotched and like bloody, and like he basically has no eyes. That's what it looks like. And he slits his own throat and kills himself. And then we flash to 20 years later where the children, Ben and Ashley, are grown up. Ashley has completely lost herself mentally. She has massive anxiety. She has visions. And she really believes that this plague is real. She thinks that she felt a presence in the house when she was a kid, and she never got over the situation. Whereas the brother kind of moved on. He still has some trauma over it, obviously, but he has a girlfriend or wife whose name is Michelle, and he's doing a lot. He's a lot more functional than Ashley is, pretty much. Ashley actually just came out of like a mental hospital. She's with her, I believe, adopted sister, because at the beginning of the film it was just the brother and sister, Ben and Ashley. But then we get this sister named Cassie. No, not Cassie. Nicole. Nicole. She is married to a guy named Andrew. So it's Nicole and Andrew as a couple, and Nicole is said to be Ashley and Ben's sister. So I'm guessing that Ben and Ashley were adopted as children because both their parents were killed. And I'm guessing Nicole is the stepsister, pretty much. But Ashley comes to stay with Nicole. Andrew, the husband, I cannot stand. Andrew, for whatever reason, despises Ashley, and he claims that it's to be protecting his wife, Nicole, but what he says to Ashley is absolutely unforgivable, and not acceptable because of Ashley's trauma. Like I don't get how cold this guy is to this poor girl, putting her down and insulting her all the time and telling her that she's bringing everybody around her down, and he's just a terrible person to this poor woman. But throughout the film, you get Ashley having more visions, and then the third act of the film, which I mean, the acts are so short because this film is literally only an hour and 15 minutes ish. By the end, you have Ben, who the final scene, he basically turns into, I guess, the Rake, and then it's credits, and that's it. And okay, maybe the Rake is a metaphor for something else, like guilt or anxiety or paranoia or uh, the fears of marriage, the fears of whatnot. I guess you could take it that way, but it just doesn't work for a film like this, being so short as it is, and just feeling like an episode to a TV show. Like it feels like you would watch an episode of American Horror Story and call it a film. It's really hard. Now, is what happens in it great? Yeah, the monster effects are pretty cool. The kills are really cool. The acting is good, very good. Where the story starts to go is really good. It just doesn't finish. You got interesting characters, and you have an ambiguous ending that I don't know if it works for me. I don't know. Now, I did a little bit of research on this film, and apparently it's based on a creepypasta, which makes more sense on why they should have made this into like a series instead of just one film this short. But I guess maybe I'm being ignorant because I didn't know the source material going in, and I had no idea that this was based on a creepypasta. So maybe doing a little bit more research on creepypasta and other creepypasta stories, maybe I would appreciate this film a lot more. Of course, I am going to be watching it more and probably looking into it more, so I might appreciate it a lot more in the future. But as of now, it's just a really great movie that's just way too short, and the abrupt ending just doesn't work for me right now. I needed more. I needed more. This is not a. I love abrupt endings. One of my favorites off the top of my head is Prisoners, starring Jake Gyllenhaal and I'm blanking on the other guy's name. Not Josh Lucas. Starts with a J, I'm pretty sure. Hugh Grant or something. No, not Hugh Grant. What am I saying? Jake Gyllenhaal and somebody I'm blanking on. Great film from 2014, I believe. And that has an abrupt ending, and it works perfectly. It's the best ending. There's no better ending to have. But it doesn't work on something like this. So, but regardless, it's an okay film. It's all right. It's what it does is good. It just needs to do more, in my opinion. But I'll be giving it another shot, and I'll be looking a lot more into it. So that's The Rake from 2018, and that's what I got. So subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice, or if you like my film reviews. This is 31 Days of Horror. There's lots of reviews on the channel. Go check them out. Stay tuned, subscribe, and I will be back soon. So cheers and take care.